What up YouTube? We are back with another reaction video. In this video, we're going to react to Nicki Minaj. His pretty much an interview on the Trump accounts and pretty much a full speech of that and see what she's talking about, because I've been seeing her lately go a little bit viral on her, I guess her turn into pretty much like a Trump supporter, you know, her proving ice and her talking about the industry, how demonic it is, things of that nature. So I meet people a little bit on my Twitter and things like that. So we're about to check out her recent speeches and see what she's actually talking about. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Don't forget to like, comment what videos you want to react to, subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, let's get right into it.
Was incredibly grateful for your presence. And by the way, how well did she do on stage with the president?
Thank you. I was very scared.
You look pretty good behind the seal, by the way.
Thank you.
I must admit, your competition, which really isn't competition, didn't really look good behind the seal when they were with Kamala Harris.
Oh.
Just saying.
My boy's trying, bro. Boy's trying. You gotta calm down.
So Nicki, look, everyone knows that you are the undisputed queen of rap, but what many people in this room might not know about you is who was Nicki before the fame? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? What was the financial situation of your upbringing?
Well, I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens, New York City, and one woo, thank you. And you know, humble beginnings, and I would say that actually I came from a different country at about 5 years old and always wanted the American dream. I thought that when I came to the United States, I was gonna be like moving into like a castle and I was gonna be wearing big like poofy dresses and going out to like ballrooms. I don't know why I had that idea. But anyway, so my parents both worked really hard, and I guess you could say they were very motivating people, believed in me, but we really didn't have much. There were times that in between jobs, I definitely remember my mother having to be dependent on the government for help. But it would always be a couple months here and there, like if she lost her job. She never felt comfortable staying on government assistance. So it'd be a couple months here and there, but it always made me think, I don't ever want to have that burden when I get older. Even as a kid, I felt like this isn't how things are supposed to be, but I don't know how I knew that.
Agree with that. I do agree with that. Like, so when we reach a certain age and you get old enough, you really don't want to rely on the government. Reason being because they're not really there to really help you out. They just there for their own agendas and to push their own narrative onto you. And it's always good to figure out your way to get your own money and to be stability, and pretty much just figure out your own way. And yeah, don't rely too much on the government because they don't really care for real. They're still gonna push their own agendas out, and they don't really care about the average person. Reason being because they all, the majority of them politics is greedy. They all care about their own pockets. So it's definitely good to branch out of that and figure out your own way to become successful. And you find other ways around it, you know, because there's other ways around it. You gotta get out of your comfort zone, be uncomfortable, don't be too fearful. Because everybody has their own fears. End of the day, what matters is you still take the action to get it done. You still take the action to figure out ways to get more money and not rely on the government. That's something that's crucial you gotta do when you're growing up.
And I remember one day asking her, how much did you make? And the look on her face when she told me the amount, like when she showed me her check, I could literally remember how it looked to this day. And even as a kid, I could tell she was disappointed in her check. So it always instilled something in me to be a go-getter and to like make my family proud by way of achieving my goals. So I would set really outlandish goals, kind of, and just hope for the best.
And that worked out pretty well for you.
I'd say so.
And I think it's safe to say that your family is more than proud of you.
Yes.
And we're also very grateful that your family, shared you with the rest of us, because you have so many millions of fans all across the globe. So thank you for sharing that. And we're here today, obviously, to talk about this Trump Accounts program. And I read in the New York Post this morning, which is real news for the most part. There's some fake news out there, right? And they might be in the room. But New York Post is real news, and they wrote today that you are partnering kind of with the Trump Accounts program to get hundreds of thousands of dollars to some of your supporters who end up having children. Why is this program something that you want to partner with and get involved?
Well,
The Trump account. Yeah, I wasn't really too sure about this Trump account. Yeah, let's see what you guys say.
when you guys first did a live about it, it caught my attention right away. It seemed like something I had never heard of anyone doing before, and I could just tell that this is something that I wish I would have had access to as a kid. I could just tell that this is something that I wish I would have had access to as a kid and as a teenager growing up, because people don't talk about how when you graduate high school, if you don't have if you're not going to college right away, how scary it could feel. If you're not having your college paid for, how scary that could feel. So, and tuition is a lot of money, and cost of living is a lot of money, and loans and all that stuff. And a lot of people forget that that's very difficult for young people, and especially young people who are ambitious. They want to hurry up and leave home. They want to go and, be in the real world. And then they get to the real world and realize, oh, it's not that easy. This is, we're going to have to pay some bills around here. And that's what happened with me. Like, I got out of high school, and I thought everything was just going to be smooth sailing. But I realized quickly, no, I have to work. I have to figure things out on my own if I wanted to live a certain way. And that's what I did. But if I had access to something like this, my whole life would have been different. So now I'm thinking about all those kids that are bright and just don't have, they're not born with a bank account, they're not born with wealthy relatives or parents, but they have so much to offer this world. And now they get to have some sort of hope. And I'm big on hope for children and for young people. They get to have hope knowing that they can be in the same playing field by the time they're 18 or in their young 20s. They can have something going for themselves at that age, which is going to contribute immensely, in my opinion, to their mental state as well.
Okay, so it's pretty much for the young folks, they be able to afford the college tuitions, things like that nature, to pursue what they actually want to pursue growing up. That's actually pretty thoughtful of her for doing that. Me personally, I feel like we need more people that's got, millions of dollars to invest in things like this, to help the younger people, to help the younger youth out there to pursue what they actually want to pursue. Reason being because we're in a very inflational country, so everything's obviously raising up. And not a lot of people is able to make the money to be able to afford the tuitions and to be able to afford their kids, future tuitions and college, things like that. So that's really nice, and I guess kind of her for considering the younger people and figuring out ways to help the younger people to pursue their actual dreams and what they want to pursue in college type of field. If it could be doctors, lawyers, things like that. So I can feel this being an actual good thing in society, actually a good contribute to society. That's pretty good, pretty good. I see if it actually makes a difference, or actually gets more people to get into certain fields and that we actually need in the world.
Because when you have to worry about paying bills, it doesn't only affect your bills, it affects your mentality, your mind frame. And we need our young people to have less stress. They're very stressed out, you guys. So that's what I love.
Well, I think that was spot on, and we are so grateful for your partnership, and I hope we can see many of your Barbs make beautiful babies in the next
Yes,
couple of
Barbs, go out there and make some babies, Barbs. We need some baby Barbs out there.
Look, a lot of politicians talk about helping Americans, but a lot of the policies have failed. We were talking backstage about, like, why hasn't another president thought of this, right? Like, why do you think President Trump is so, effective and creative when it comes to, these types of policies and being able to implement them?
Why is it lagging, dude?
Well, it's because he really wants change. He doesn't want to just talk about it. He's a businessman, which, in that world, people judge you by, are you successful at the things that you said you were going to do. So versus the average politician, they're just a politician who may want to be a celebrity. They don't care if their policies work 2 months from now, 2 minutes from now. They don't care if they inspire the next generation. They just care about getting in office. This is a different human being. This is a different president. This is a different kind of leader. This is a businessman and an authentic human being. So when he says that he wants to contribute something long term, way after he's in office, that's what he means. And you get to see all of these other people that are, that have a lot of money and that have a lot of influence. They're drawn to that. It's like a magnet, because everyone wants to make a change. Well, the good people want to make a change for the better. So
Probably not Gavin Newsom.
Oh, no, he doesn't want to make a change. Absolutely not. Newsom only wants to be seen. He does not want to do anything credible with his time or life.
It's true.
I knew that would get them clapping. No.
And while he's on topic, what did you make of our great Treasury Secretary's comments about Newsom in Davos?
So spot on. That's one of my new heroes, I told you, now, because of the way he so calmly and confidently obliterated Newsom.
He's very effective, especially when it comes to destroying the left when it comes to arguments. And so let's get off of.
Yeah, especially nowadays, the left, bro. They can't even have a civil conversation no more. A civil disagreement, they just want to get very hostile, very angry all the time. Just having a simple opinion back and forth. You want to get all angry and be like, start lashing out, start throwing bricks and glass at you. Like, bro, it's just a conversation. Like, what happened to having a civil conversation nowadays? It's like, you can't even have that no more. It's kind of weird. But what they talking about, I haven't really reacted to it. I haven't really seen it, so I don't understand much of that topic they was discussing right there. But let me know down in the comments when we want to react to that, and I'll probably get around to it.
Newsom, because he's kind of boring topic, right?
Very.
We're gonna watch this video of Gavin Newsom post press conference briefing record break in Caesar elect fentanyl. Let's see what you guys say.
Well, he hasn't left the state, and I'll remind you, it all happened here first, and we didn't wait till the inauguration. We saw during the transition a gentleman by the name of Bovino, who was in parts of Central Valley, beginning the process to exercise his unique approach to lawlessness. It's been litigated. He lost in an earlier court decision. It's been showcased now across the United States. But he did that during the transition. We saw what happened here in San Diego. The first raids on a restaurant where you saw a lot of crowd control and suppression techniques. It was a Friday night. restaurants that were raided here in LA. Of course, we saw the federalization of the National Guard, hundreds of millions of dollars wasted of taxpayer.
Wasted on taxpayer? What are you talking about, dude? What about so him bringing in a whole bunch of illegals, making a country into a dump, the state into a dump? That's not wasting taxpayer money either. Like they're obviously doing it to make the place safe and to follow their laws that they have in place. That's really all they're doing is following the law and their jobs and their duties. And he's calling it lawlessness. So is he for the law or is he not? It's like this guy is he just want to stay in his power, and he don't want people to actually have sense. He don't want this type of people. He want people that's quick to follow and don't have their own opinion on things.
Hundreds of millions of dollars wasted of taxpayer money.
Wasted.
We saw 700 active duty Marines that were not sent overseas, were sent to the second largest city in the United States, Los Angeles. We saw thousands of National Guard men and women, by the way, who are police officers in their own right, firefighters, nurses, doctors, caregivers, that were sent to the armory. They had no particular purpose. They were there for purely political purposes. And we saw them paraded around. We saw Bovino move to other states. We said at the time that was a preview of things to come. I'll remind you, we were down at the Democracy Center in Little Tokyo. We were announcing the kickoff of a campaign that ultimately became Proposition 50. There was a guy in a mask, along with others. Greg Bovino was out there trying to intimidate people from walking in. We said that was a preview of things to come as well. And so he's sent back to California. We're hardly celebrating that. And this is a guy who literally goes on eBay and tries to find 1930s outfits. I mean, he's exposed himself even to Donald Trump, who basically fired him. They had to send him back home because of his abuse and the lawlessness that he perpetuated. And the
Wow. You can tell when someone doesn't have that much of an argument when he starts losing words, mid-sentence.
gross incompetence to which he was doing his job. I'm shocked he still has his job, though I'm also shocked Kristi Noem still has her job, though she seems to have been pushed aside as well. Tom Homan, ironically now the adult in the room, has been sent to Minneapolis. But no, to your question, and forgive the long-windedness, I just wanted to contextualize it and remind people of where we've been here in California, because this is the origin story of Trump 2.0. They're still out there actively. They're still out there actively terrorizing diverse communities, and I don't use that word lightly. I just left the border.
Terrorizing? Bro, how do they terrorize the community? What about the people that's terrorizing soldiers, terrorizing the ICE agents? Literally attacking their vehicles, attacking them. It was one video I saw that I guess one of those people that was like, it was like an ICE agent in front of the hotel, I believe, and somebody threw a full brick at one of their heads. Could have killed the guy. Could have killed them right there. So it's like there's people who they want conversation. They don't want conversation. They are on violence right now. And God forbid that we already lost 2 people already. The girl from the car that got shot, and the other dude that got shot by ICE. There was like wrestling and tussling and things like that, and end his life. But it's like things like that could be avoided. I don't have to be casualties like that, but if people put themselves in those situations, it's choices that has to have been made before that disaster at the end. There's choices that's made, influences that they listen to, people that they listen to. And I feel like he's pretty much doing that because he quick to blame the ICE agents people for doing their jobs, but not blaming other people that's forcing them to take those actions. Like people that's angry at them, that's criticizing them, that's threatening them, things like what is that conversation at? Why you hold those people that's doing it to the ICE agents accountable? Why is it just the ICE agents just trying to do their job and what they told to do from the president? On them lawlessness, destructive terrorizing communities. What about the other people that's trying to hold them back or destroying their vehicles, attacking them? Like, isn't that just one side here? You know, you gotta look at the full picture of it, what's actually going on. But I feel like he just had one agenda, one specific role, and he's trying to hold on to that power that he always had in that state. But realizing it is backfiring on him because when we have Twitter and two people are starting to be awakened now, what was going on, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense, you know. But people like this that don't have no actual purpose for the humans and people in a state, they just want to be in power. They don't really have much to talk about because they don't have actual truth. It's not sincere, you know. They don't have no truth. They're living in a lie.
I just left a community meeting. I just left meeting people representing all our diverse communities, many diverse communities in the state of California, giving me chapter and verse about how ICE is still conducting operations around schools. Chapter and verse around how the community and nonprofits have to go in because they take leaders of a household and now they're got children that are running the household that don't even have power of attorney, don't even know how to pay rent, providing grants so they don't lose their homes. I was hearing chapter and verse around the abuse people have received, abuse coming in many different forms.
Abuse.
American cities disappearing and then being told they're on their own, their cell phone gone, their ID gone, and they have no recourse, no money to get back from where they have been shipped off. They just have to find their way back home. That's one type of abuse. The other kind of abuse, coming back with bruises, with no recourse, no capacity for justice. The abuse that is the trauma that a young kid feels when the gun is put to their head. You saw that example up in LA. Again, it was one of the first examples about a year ago. Disabled kid waiting for his sister to come across the street from school, and they put a gun to the head of a disabled boy. The trauma that is permanent, that is being perpetuated by the lawlessness of this administration. It's still happening all across this country, including here in California. It never disappeared. If you think I'm overstating it, 1,500% increase in the number of arrests. Cal Matters just came out with this new report versus the year prior. All happening, but without the fanfare of what you're seeing in your living room and on your screen happening in places like Minneapolis. So forgive me, but you can't.
But why do you think it's happening? It's not happening for no reason. That's one thing he's not pointing out. It's like they're doing that for a reason. He want to portray such a bad narrative, but at the same time not sharing the whole picture of it, what's actually going on. He's taking out little pics of terrible, destructive things that happen or unfortunate circumstances that happen and want to portray all of them as bad. That's pretty much what he's doing.
Can't spend time with real people and not feel their pain and not feel that trauma. Donald Trump doesn't understand that. He's never done that. He's never sat down with these folks. The recklessness, the impact.
Oh, you did? Come on, make it make sense, dude. I'm done listening to this dude, bro.
So, last question here is, all of the president's great achievements, from tax cuts to securing our border to bringing factories back home. I personally believe the Trump accounts will have the longest term effect because 20 years from now, 18 years from now, kids are going to, be able to inherit this money, get this money, and they're going to have $50, $100, $200,000, $300,000 in their bank accounts. And I read today that if they're 28 years old and the money continues to grow, it could be up to $1.1 million by the time they turn 28 years old. And so Do you agree that this is going to have lasting impact?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It changes a huge part of the country. It changes the trajectory of so many lives. And now, these children will be able to loosen up a bit, enjoy, being young, enjoy, time being in high school and in college, knowing that they can have fun again while becoming a businessman or a businesswoman. Like, to me, there's nothing greater, well, almost nothing greater, than teaching financial literacy to young people. I think it's so important. I think it should be in the curriculum in schools, actually, because it's a life-changing thing. They don't teach it,
They don't teach nothing like that.
it's what children need. It's what everyone needs. And these children, some of them, will be able to teach even their parents about investing, right? And I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Nicki, I think everybody here is so grateful for your appearance. I know the president is. And we have a very special place we need to go visit now, so we have to cut this a little bit short. But, this was such a fun discussion with you.
Yes.
And we are so grateful for you using your platform for good, advancing, highlighting the great victories of this administration. And also, I think most importantly, speaking out in defense of Christians who are being persecuted.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like everybody talk about their own agenda, things like that. You gotta give them credit where credit's due. Because for the most part, like Donald Trump could go a little bit more hard on these people that's going against what he's trying to do. We gotta prosecute them, we gotta put them in jail, because them going against what is right for the country and them building up people to go against, ICE agents, federal agents, things like that, that's like a crime right there. So it's like I feel like Donald Trump in that aspect, he gotta push more harder onto them and actually start arresting big people as well. Because if they don't take that initiative, it's like what makes other people think that they're gonna be serious about the law. Because the law goes for everyone. Doesn't matter their social status, doesn't matter if how much money they have, things like that. The law is the law. And I feel like when certain people get away with it that has a certain amount of money, and other people's not gonna take it as serious anymore, and they're gonna lose hope for the justice system and things like that. And that's the unfortunate reality. Is like I feel like nowadays everything's bought off. I feel like you can buy people to do your deeds and things like that. And some people use money for good, other people use money for their own advantages, their own selfish desires, and what they want out of life. But at the end of the day, none of it really is gonna matter at the end. And just don't. I would say don't focus too much on the worldly things, and just stay true to yourself, stay true to the Lord, pray on the Lord, and seek the Lord, and all the treasures will be upon you. And so it's like little things like this, like what Nicki Minaj was doing with the Trump accounts, helping the younger youth. Things like that are good. That's good for the communities. That's gonna help get the younger generation to start actually going to school and start actually making a life for themselves. And it's gonna inspire others to actually start going. And I feel like that's a good thing. That's a boost in society. But at the end of the day, you don't put too much focus on the people on top, things like that, because it's not really gonna save you at the end. What matters is your soul, where your soul is heading to, and your soul is right with the Lord, and to be true to yourself and stay firm in the faith and speak true to yourself and realize what you want in life. Be passionate about it. Don't lose hope about it. Don't ever give up in life. Yeah. Let me know. Let me see how you're gonna close this out. And then
You're incredibly courageous, and we're grateful for you.
I appreciate you guys. And thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. And thank you to our amazing president and his amazing administration. May God continue to bless them in all that they do.
Thank you, guys.
nice.
Do you want to take a second to touch on something that I think is really important? I'm a huge advocate for mental health on this page. You guys already know.
Well, I would say that's good. It definitely was something unexpected. I thought that Minaj would make type of a game move with Trump, but I'm glad that we're making a good trajectory in the younger youth and younger people. And let me know what y'all think about this video. Leave that down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see y'all in the next video.